That started. Okay, so I think we're off and running now. So welcome everybody to the slightly delayed Wednesday night webinar. As you can see there tonight, we're talking about team building for beginners. Hi Chrissy. This is the fourth in the series of 8 that I run at the moment. As you can see there, the first 3 really about the retail side of the business, getting started, some of the things to do at the beginning, your first few weeks, and then building that up into a customer base. In parallel with that, you certainly don't have to wait until you've got a customer base, but in parallel with that, you can also consider becoming a team builder, a team leader. And that's what I'm going to talk about a bit today. Next week, I'm going to be talking about supporting your new team members when they join. And then the last 3 weeks are really all the personal development side of the business, kind of growing yourself, setting your goals, how important your attitude is, that sort of thing. So, this evening, what we will be covering is whether or not you have to be a team builder, whether or not you should be a team builder if you don't have to be one, what tools do you need to get started, and then a little easy to pick up way, hopefully, to get you started, and a simple process that I follow. I'm not going through it in lots of detail tonight. The purpose of this isn't really to give you a detailed description of how to do it, but to hopefully get you started. And please speak to your sponsor to get some more detail if you need any that I don't go through tonight. Although I am happy to hang around for a few minutes at the end to answer any questions. So, quick question to everybody then. What do you think? What's your impression? Do you have to build a team to be a Kleeneze distributor? Or to earn money, shall we say? Yep, Katrina's saying, why wouldn't you? Anybody else got any thoughts? Any yeses or nos? Or yep, Craig, good point, residual income. That might be a reason why you would choose to. Wendy, sharing is caring. That's very good, very good. So the answer is no, you don't have to. There are people that earn an income just entirely on the retail side, either online or using catalogs, or doing a bit of both. So you don't have to, and in fact most distributors don't. But it's important to know that you can. What I would suggest is that if you're just new in the business, or if you're thinking of being a team leader, then just bear in mind the fact that you can be a team builder, a team leader, because often new distributors who start off just to earn an extra £50 or £100 a week, selling a few things on Facebook or delivering their catalogs, can accidentally become a team builder. And that often occurs just simply because you start earning a bit more money. Your customers might say, oh, is there any way are you looking for anybody else in this area? Because I'd love to earn a bit of extra money. I've seen what you do, I could do that. So if anybody approaches you like that, then even if you've never been a team builder before, you should immediately speak to your sponsor and say, I've got a customer who's interested in joining the business. Because it will benefit you, it will improve your income if you've got people in your team. So, if you don't have to build a team, are there reasons why you should build a team? And of course there are. Firstly, you can earn a much bigger income. There are people in the business who just do retail, people that are earning kind of $3,000, $4,000 a month, treating Kleeneze seriously, delivering catalogs every day, treating it like a full-time job really, building up a big customer base. However, you can earn a lot more than that, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month and much more by building a big team. And in fact, the more important reason, in my opinion, is that if you're doing it all yourself, because you're self-employed, if you're ever ill, or you're on holiday, or you just choose to take a bit of time off, then nobody's going to be posting your Facebook posts for you, nobody will deliver your orders, nobody will collect your catalogs for you. So you don't get paid if you're not doing the business yourself. However, if you've built a team, and your team are not all taking time off, you may have all gone on a team holiday, which is fantastic, but assuming that the team are not all ill at the same time as you, then you will still get paid your bonuses and your income through your team, even if you're not able to do the retail side of it yourself. And that's one of the most beautiful parts of the business, in my opinion. So let's just assume that you're thinking about team building. What tools do you need? Well, a couple of little basic things. Firstly, you do need some kind of diary to keep track of your appointments. You'll be making contact with people and arranging to call them back, or maybe popping around to visit them, or they might want to call you. So you do need some way of managing your time and keeping track of them. And really, for the first week or two, maybe when you're first getting started, you probably don't need a computer system to keep track of all these things. But if you're serious and if you start to build a number of lists, if you like, of people who are expressed an interest in the past and maybe didn't join at the time, you'll probably find that it's really, really useful to have a contact manager. And a contact manager is basically just a bit of software. Usually they run on the internet, so you would just kind of subscribe to a bit of sort of pre-built software, and that does lots and lots of things for you. Keeping track of all the different contacts and the leads and so on is one of the basic things, but there's lots of other bits that they do as well, and I'll be discussing a few of those this evening. Of course, you need a telephone and you need some information to send to people who might say, "Oh, what's this all about then?" So, how to get started? It's never really been easier, excuse me, to get started, just kind of almost dipping your toe in the water, than using your warm list. So what I would suggest you do is just make a list of 10 people that you know, best friends, brothers, sisters, people that you know really well. And you probably know them either on Facebook, or if you look through your mobile phone, you've got the list of all your contacts there. It'd be dead easy for you to pick 10 to make a start with. And then I'll just contact them. Just send them a little message. I mean, if they're really friendly and you know them really well, then just give them a call. If you haven't spoken to them for a little while, you can just send them a Facebook message or a text. Just something along these lines. "Hi Laura, just want to let you know I've started my own online business recently and it's going really, really well. Who do you know that would like to earn some extra money working from home online?" Or words to that effect. You're not going to tell them anything about it. You're just kind of arousing their curiosity. And you can continue to do that. And what you will find is that some people will come back to you and say, "Well, what's all that about? Actually, I might be interested." Or, "Oh, my brother-in-law's just had his hours cut. He might be interested. What's it all about?" And then you can send them some information. And just call back the next day or two. Just did anyone come to mind? Did you think of anybody who might be interested? That follow-up part is really, really important. So it's just a really short message, just to kind of arouse their curiosity. Are they interested? Would they like to look at a little bit of information? And the whole point of this is not that you're necessarily going to get 10 people to join up straight away, but you're really just letting them know that you've got a way of earning some extra money, and it's going really well, and it's quite simple. They're working from home and they can do it online. And you're just sowing those seeds, because even though at the moment they might be quite happy with their life, you never know when things can change. If there's a new baby on the way and suddenly they realise they could do with a bit of extra money, or mum has to take time off work while she's looking after the kids, or your brother-in-law loses their job because of redundancies. Who knows when circumstances are going to change? And if you've just sown a few seeds and let them know that you've got something that might be of interest to them, you never know when they're going to come back to you. So that's using your kind of Facebook warm list. The next thing to do, and this is one that's working really, really well, I know across the whole business, lots of people have been using this to great success. If you've already got your Facebook selling group in place, then one of the things that's really important to recognize is that your selling group is not for selling to. Now, it is, but what it really is a network. It's a network of people that have something in common with you. They'll either live close to you, they've bought from you, they're interested in the sorts of things you might be selling, or maybe they've just been added by a friend, but they've got a friend who's bought from you, or who's interested in what you've got to tell. So you've kind of got this like extended warm list that it's really easy for you to contact. So when you're thinking about growing your selling group, and there's all sorts of ways in using competitions, asking your friends to add their friends, that sort of thing. Try and build it as big as you can, as quickly as you can. And I've said there 5,000 plus. There's lots of examples of people building it much bigger than that. But set that as your first goal. Once you've hit 5,000, then set your target at 10,000, 15,000 and plus. Because all of those people, they might buy from you, which is fantastic. As I said there's different ways you can get people to join your group, but asking friends to add their friends, promoting it in the other local groups along with your product, using competitions and so on. And once you start to grow that, you can repeat that over and over again. You can ask the people in your group to add their friends. You can continue to promote it in local groups. You can join more local groups, and you can use competitions over and over again to keep growing your group. And then what I would suggest you do is, maybe not all the time, but once every couple of weeks, once a month, just put a little post up like this. Something like, hey guys, I'm just curious. Would anyone like to earn some extra money just by advertising some of the stuff in this group? This is what I earned in my first couple of weeks, first 4 weeks maybe. Comment below or message me if you're interested. Now, what I would suggest you put in there is, if you hit your 10% bonus level, and so you'll receive your check, and that check will have been for something between 150, 250 pounds, something like that, then use your own check. Because then you can say, this is what I earned in my first 4 weeks. And that's what a lot of people are really interested in. They look at something like this. There's lots of opportunities out there. And sometimes you can kind of see these big checks of people earning tens of thousands of pounds a month. What they're really interested in is, what would I earn in my first month? And if you can show them what you earned, then you can, if they know you, or if they trust you, or they like you, they'll think, wow, if you can do that, I could do that. So that's a great thing to do. If you haven't yet hit your 10% bonus, so you don't have your own check yet, then speak to your upline, because I'm sure there will be other people in your team that have hit their 10% level and have got their first check. And so in this example, I've got a team member, Hayley, and I've just said in lots of my adverts, this is what Hayley earned in her first 4 weeks. And no one's going to say, well, oh, that's okay, that's what Hayley's earned, what have you earned? Because by the time people are asking about that, then hopefully you'll have kind of grown your business enough and you'll have your own check then. But this is just to arouse people's interest, and the figures, the important check, that the 150 or 250 pounds check, are really, really important, because people will believe they're realistic. You're not saying you can earn £10,000 sitting at home in your pyjamas. What you're saying is, you can earn an extra £50 to £100 a week, and that makes a huge lot of difference to a lot of people. An extra £50 a week can pay the bills, or can treat the kids to a trip to the cinema, or save up for a holiday or a new car, and that's really important for people. And you will find that you get lots and lots of people say, oh, what's it all about then? Can you send me some information? So I know you can't see that in any detail, but basically this was the check that I put up in my group, and all of these comments underneath are people saying, can you give me some information about it, please? And the beauty of all of these inquiries are, firstly, they're free, because you've got, they're in Facebook, hasn't cost you anything to put this little post in your group. Secondly, you know that the people who are inquiring have got Facebook, and they know what you do. They're in your selling group, and they've seen the products that you've sold, and they may have even bought from you, so they kind of know how it works already. If you like, they're already seeing the evidence of what to do. So the conversations you have with them are quite simple. And as I said earlier, those first checks are the best ones, because they're the ones that people are going to think, well, if that's what that person earned in their first 4 weeks, chances are I'll be able to do the same. So use that first check. Excuse me, just grabbing a quick swig of water. So if somebody, here's a little process that I'm just going to go through. So basically the process is, and it's very, very simple. if somebody replies to an advert, you send them some information, you then follow it up, ask them what they thought about it, ask them a little bit about their situation, see if you can help them, and if they like you and they believe they'll be able to do what you're doing and they think they're going to get some help and support, then they'll sign up. And that's what we're going to do. So the first thing I would do is, if someone replies to an advert, just send them some information immediately. You can normally what I do is, if somebody replies to a Facebook inquiry, I will send them a personal message just saying, could you fill in your details on my website, and then I can send you the information straight to your email. And I've got a website which goes to my contact manager. So if you don't have a contact manager yet, then speak to your sponsor, that your upline or their upline will have a contact manager and be able to show you how to set one up for you and your team. But if you can set it up so it happens automatically, it's much better, because people can be filling in their details on the website while you're out and about. You might not even have access to the internet, and they will automatically get some information about it. If you don't have a contact manager yet, though, all you need to do is just have an email. I normally just create a little template email saying, hi XXX, thanks for your inquiry. Here's a little bit of information that explains, a bit about what we do. And the first thing I send them is the Independent You video. So if you don't have that easily accessible, if you just go on to YouTube and find the Kleeneze HQ YouTube channel, it's on there, and you can just copy that link. It's just youtube.com/ and then the funny letters afterwards for that video, and just send them that. I think that's a really good, really short video, but just gives them a really good idea as to what's involved. It doesn't go through all the nitty gritty and the nuts and bolts, but it's quite kind of informative, and they will get if people are already in your selling group and they've watched this video, they'll have a pretty good idea of what's involved at that point. What I would suggest you do next is call them within 24 hours. So hopefully they'll have automatically had the email, or you'll have manually sent it to them. If they filled in their details on your website, it will ask them for a telephone number. If it doesn't, what I would suggest you do is just send them a Facebook message. If they haven't filled in the website yet on your, if you don't have a website yet, and they just haven't replied to a query on Facebook, just ask them if they're free for a quick call, and you can go through any questions they might have. What's the best number to call you on, something like that. And try and call them back within 24 hours while it's fresh in their mind and while they're still interested and curious. And that follow-up call, it's really quite short. Basically, what you're trying to do is build a bit of rapport with them. You're just asking them a little bit about their situation, and you're listening. Don't use this phone call as an excuse to talk to them about how fantastic the business is and how it's really helped you out of your situation and how it was difficult for you when you first started off, and now you're having a really good lifestyle. They're not really interested in your life. They've got their own problems to worry about. So ask them about their situation and listen. And you can just prompt them with a few questions. Hi Susie, what's your situation? Thanks for your inquiry. Can you tell me a bit about what you do? And what was it you were looking for? Are you kind of just looking for a little bit extra to pay some bills, or just kind of try to get them to talk a little bit about their situation? Because often nobody's ever listened to them before, and they really appreciate the fact that you'll kind of empathize with them and start to get an understanding of their situation. What I would then do is ask them, have they watched the video? And that's a really important question, because what you're trying to do firstly is find out, did they watch it? And that will then lead you to your next question. And this is kind of a really nice way of saying what we're trying to get across here. What did they like most about the video from their point of view? Because again, what you're looking for there is somebody will say, oh, it was the money, or it was the flexibility, or the ability to be able to work around your children, or the ability that you can work it around a second job, or all those sorts of things. And that's just giving you more information and giving you the opportunity, and giving them the opportunity to talk to you about their situation and what they like most about it, and how this solution, if you like, will help them solve whatever their problem might be. And then the next step is really, once you've got to that point, you've understood their situation, what I would suggest you do then is just book a time with them to go through some more details. So you don't need to do it there and then. These short phone calls should just be 2, 3, 4 minutes. You're really just trying to find out, firstly, whether there's somebody who you think you can help. If they haven't even watched the video, if you've sent them an email and they asked for some information and they haven't looked at the video, I would say to them, how soon can you watch the video? And then once they've looked at the video, then you can come back and find out a bit more about their situation. But if they're not even going to invest a little bit of time watching a 4-minute video, you might want to question whether they're going to invest any time learning how to run the business with you. Okay, I mentioned earlier a contact manager. And I think if you're serious about building this business, it's worth your while investing in a contact manager. They're not hugely expensive, probably between £5 and £10 a month to get started. And the reason this is really important is that when you first start off, well, in fact, even when you've been doing it for 20 years, most people who reply to your advert or ask you for a bit more information will not join the business immediately. For all sorts of different reasons, the time's not right for them, they're kind of just curious, or all sorts of different reasons. Or it could just be that they can't afford the joining fee or anything like that. But what you're aiming to do is build a list of people, because these people, even if they're not in a position to join now, may join in the future. As I was saying earlier, when their circumstances change, if you've got a big database, and we're talking about, there's no reason why you can't have tens and hundreds of thousands of people in this database over time. And all of these people might at some point have a change of circumstances that mean they're looking for a way to earn some extra money. And you want them to think of you when that time comes. So you need to be sending regular little kind of drip feed stories to them. Send them success stories. Little stories of team members who have just had a great start, and maybe who started off the business that their first couple of months they got to £200 a month. They're now earning £500 a month. They're really looking forward to being able to give up their full-time job so they can put all their energy into their new exciting business. All those stories make people realize how much they're not enjoying their work, and how much they would enjoy having the flexibility to work for themselves. So just regular little success stories, so that when their circumstances do change, you're the person they think of and you're the person they come to. And if you do all of those things, and I said it earlier about repeating this, you don't just kind of build your Facebook group once and then send one message out to them and see who joins. You're constantly asking people for anybody else interested, anyone curious about finding out a bit more about how it works. And so over a period of time, you will get people that want to join. And when they do that, it's a fairly simple process. Again, I'm not going to go through it in detail, but what I would say is always do the sign up with them. It's quite simple to get a link and send them a link and say, oh yeah, just follow all the instructions, you'll be fine. But I guarantee you will lose people like that just because they kind of can't quite work out how to do it, and they feel embarrassed, so they don't follow you up. And then 3 days later, when you wonder why they're not in your team, when you ring them up, they've kind of forgotten about it and moved on. So it only takes 10 minutes, so just do the sign up with them, either face to face if they're nearby, or you can do it over the phone with them. And once you've done a couple of them, you'll tend to anticipate the questions that they use. There's always a couple of points where they will ask about, when the terms and conditions come up, what's all the small print, how often, how much do you have to pay, how long do you have to pay for your goods when you put an order in? Those sorts of questions. So if you've kind of got an idea of the sorts of questions that often come up, it just puts your new team member, gives them the confidence that they're working with somebody who knows what they're talking about. So just kind of try and think about the sorts of questions they might have. And then as soon as they've completed that, and as I say, literally it's 10 minutes, the last step, they need a credit card or a debit card to pay their joining fee. But then congratulate them, welcome them to your team. Because people want to kind of feel that they've made the right decision, so it's really important to do that. And I always try and send them a Facebook friend request there and then, because even if they're not planning to use Facebook and they're wanting to focus on the catalogues to get started with, Facebook is a great place to congratulate people and welcome them to your team. And if you've got a team of people who are all on Facebook and they can all welcome your new team member as well, then that's a great way for that person to feel kind of welcome to a new group. So please, I always do that Facebook friend request straight away. And I would plan you should have a getting started appointment with them straight away. So depending on whether they're just doing Facebook or doing catalogs or a bit of both, literally within 24 hours you should be sitting down going through with them either over a Skype call or face to face, helping them get started. And then going through that the induction, which is if you like the more detailed step-by-step list of what they do with their catalogs, how they do the Facebook side of things. Okay, I'm pretty much come to the end there, guys. Bear with me a moment. So what we tried to cover there, hopefully I covered with you guys, is firstly that you don't have to build a team if you don't want to. And secondly, you should build a team though, because it will increase your income and give you the security that you're still going to get money coming in if you're too ill to do your own retail or you decide to take some time off. Explained a little bit about the tools that you need to get started and what to do when somebody replies to your adverts, what information to send to them, and how to follow up. Sorry, Ruth, I've seen your question there. I will come back to that. Bear with me a moment. I'm not going to leave without answering that for you. And so that's it, really. That was the step 4, team building for beginners. Sorry, that was a little bit rushed. I kind of felt like I rushed that at the end, but I didn't want to kind of carry on too long after 8:30 because we did start a little bit late. I'm just going to stop the recording.